Hey, how you doing? This is Mr. Clifford with AC/DC Econ, key econ concepts in 60 seconds. Today's a hard one. We're going to talk about why the marginal cost curve is U-shaped. It goes down and it goes back up. Now let's back up. Your students or your teacher already taught you about the law of diminishing marginal returns. As you add additional inputs, right, variable resources, to fixed resources, the additional output eventually will start to fall. You need that concept to understand this concept. Okay, let's jump into it in 60 seconds. The first thing we're going to talk about is the marginal cost curve. As you know, marginal cost goes down and up. A lot of students have a hard time with that. Pay attention, here's why. The reason why is because of the marginal product curve and the law of diminishing marginal returns. As I hire more and more workers, right, this is quantity of labor, as I hire more workers, the additional output from each worker starts to go up because of specialization. So this worker starts to specialize, and eventually the additional output from each worker starts to go down. The reason why marginal cost looks like this is because it has to do with this. I'm hiring these workers. They add additional 5 or an additional 10. Let's say they add an additional 10. The next worker adds an additional 20. Well, those units are extremely cheap. The additional cost of those units are very small because the worker, I only hired one guy, his additional output was as high, right? So the marginal cost of those units start to fall. When each worker adds less and less than the previous worker, well, I still have to pay the worker his wage, but the additional output from him is less and less. So the additional cost of those units is more and more. So again, as MP is going up, marginal cost is falling. As marginal product starts to fall, marginal cost starts going back up. Great, that's the key concept. Done. Bonus round. If you don't like this, let me show you some numbers that might actually help. I think this will actually help you. Take a look. This is quantity of labor hiring 1, 2, and 3 workers. This is the total product that comes with hiring those workers. I hire nobody, I get no output. Okay, I hire 1 worker, 5, 2 workers, 15, 3 workers, 17, and I'm not going to continue this down. I'm just going to show you the concept, so pay attention. Okay, the marginal product, well, this first worker adds an additional 5, this next worker adds an additional 10, this next worker adds an additional 2. And the reason why is the law of diminishing marginal return. So think of this one. This is 5, this is 10, and this is 2. I'm trying to show you the concept. The next thing I want to do is talk about total cost. Well, I'm going to say that the wage in this case is the only resource, right? The only variable resource, no fixed resources, and we'll say the wage is $10. I want to hire a worker, I got to pay $10. Well, hire no workers, there's no cost, there's no fixed cost. 1 worker is going to be 10, 2 workers is going to be 20, 3 workers is going to be 30. Good, are you with me so far? Does this make sense? The next step is to calculate the marginal cost. We'll take a look. Marginal cost is the change in total cost divided by the change in output, not input, in output. So in this situation, I gained, my total cost went up from 0 to 10, so it's 10, but it's divided by the additional output that I got from those workers. And I got those workers at, take a look at 5, right? So if you see, 10 divided by 5, the marginal cost of that unit, of those 5 units was 2. Again, the reason why is I had to pay a guy $10, I got an additional 5 units, so each one costs an additional 2. Now let's see what happens when this next worker adds even more than the previous worker, right? When marginal product is increasing. Now, well, the change in total cost is still 10, right? It went up by 10, but the change in total quantity, or the change in output, went up by 10. So now it's $1. So before, these units cost me $2 to produce, the additional cost. Next one, the additional cost is an additional $1. All right, let's look at this last one. I had to hire another worker. In this case, we went from 15 output now to 17. So the additional cost went up by $10. I had to pay the guy $10 to get him to work for me. But the thing was, is I only got an additional 2 output from him. And if I only got an additional 2 output from him, those units are costing me a fortune, right? If you see, the marginal cost of those units is 5. If I hire another worker and he adds even just 1 more output, let's go ahead and do that. Take a look. I hire another worker. He adds only 1 more output, right? His marginal product is 1. What's going to be the marginal cost of that unit? Well, take a look, right? I hire $40, change was 10, right? I only got an additional 1 output. It's $10, $10. I had to hire a worker, the additional output was only 1 more unit, that unit cost me $10, right? And the reason why, one more time, when marginal product is going up, you can see marginal cost is falling. When marginal product is going down, marginal cost is going up. Hopefully that makes sense. Until next time.